Welcome back, everybody, to This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I am your host, Perry. It is episode 415. I don't know why I keep wanting to say that I'm in the 300s still, when I'm very much not. I'm into 400s, like, by a lot at this point. 415, that's where we are. Firmly into the new year, of course. Coming off of, by the way, and I talked about this on the pregame chats, and I'll talk about it a little bit more later on in the episode during Tips and Bits, but I'm recording this on Sunday, January 11th, coming right off of the news of the passing of Grateful Dead founding member Bob Weir, one of my musical heroes, and feeling all sorts of ways about it. I'm slightly in the depression side of things, but you know what? I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna get through it. I think. I hope so. At least I'm gonna try to. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to last week's top 10 episode of 2025. I hope you enjoyed that. I am actually streaming this week's episode live on Twitch for the recording on this Sunday, somewhat morning. We're kind of getting into the afternoon here. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that you're checking out this week's episode. Of course, I got our buddy Shy Guy. I'm watching and listening. Don't want to get in the way. You're good, man. Don't worry about it. If things come up in the chat, I will definitely point to them. It's going to kind of like be a a live stream, but also kind of also be a normal recording. So a little peek behind the curtain for people who are watching on live, but also just going to be business as usual, of course, because that's what we do. So we normally kick off episodes of the podcast with a segment known as Flying Blind, where I try something I've never had before or something that I haven't had in a while, and I'm refreshing my palate on. It's not Malort this week, no, even though Shy Guy thinks it is. It is, in fact, something that is coming from my friends over. Where is it? Here it is. At Appalachian Barrel Company. Now, full disclosure, they sent this to me, of course, but I did open it the other night, and I was so excited to try it that I got right into it. But I wanted to talk about it here on the podcast as well, because they sent it to me, and I wanted to, discuss some of what it is that they do. But they are independent bottlers, much like light's not going to allow me to show you the full bottle. But here it is, Appalachian Barrel Company for the video viewers. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. This is an 8.9 year bourbon. 123.34 proof. Mash bill is 7021.9. So not sure entirely where it comes from, but there's a lot of 7021.9 floating around out there. Founded by my buddies Jade and Jesse Haddix and Heath Brashear. And of course, trying to honor and uplift Appalachia in Kentucky. And this is just a very special brand, and I think they do fantastic work with everything that they put out. Crafted by three founders with deep Appalachian roots, our bourbon fuses tradition with the craft of the bluegrass, aged slow and made to share. Each sip carries the pride of our homeland. This is bourbon the Appalachian way. I have talked about them some before, back when they were getting off the ground. Oh, okay, well, the wax is coming off. I tried some of their single barrels, I think on a live stream. And I need to actually get them on the show to talk more about what it is that they do. But they do a private, single barrel program. I think they're working at the moment on getting blended products together as well. But overall, you can also find them on social media. Appalachian Barrel Co. Appalachian Barrel Company, I think probably is the easiest way to find out what they do, where they are, all that good stuff. And again, independent bottlers, so they source everything that they put out, much in the way that somebody like Rare Character does. And Chad has helped them out with some of their operations too. So, all that being said, though, let's check out this bourbon. Oh, they also sent me a hat. It's a beanie. Got Appalachian Barrel Company on it. I'm not going to put it on right now because I don't want to mess up my hair. But it is back there. It's behind me. So if I ever just slightly move my head out of the way, you can see it, I guess. But it is there. So that's for you to know at this point. It just is like what I love about what ABC does. Everything has this just like classic for bourbon drinkers aspect to their product. Deep, big, bold, very intense bourbon palate, bourbon flavor profile to it. I mean, off the rip, it just smells like it spent a good amount of time in the oak. Even at 8.9 years, it smells older than that, to be very honest with you. I've heard those notes used when describing me too. But anyway, cheers. Thank you all so much for checking out this episode again. And of course, thanks to Appalachian Barrel Company for sending me this pour. Graham crackers, marshmallow fluff, nice, deep, rich oak. Excuse me. Hints of like dark berries as well. I mean, just a very robust bourbon. And I think that like as we start to look at some of these more like independent bottlers, ABC is going to have more and more attention thrown their way. So you've probably seen some of their stuff on secondary groups. If you're a part of those and being lauded quite a bit, I mean, some of their like double-digit age range picks are phenomenal too. I highly recommend them if you haven't checked them out yet. But this is a phenomenal pick. I don't even know who this one was for. I mean, it doesn't say anything on the label itself, or if this is just one of their barrels that they've got sitting around. But either way, Appalachian Barrel Company. Check them out. Let's talk about what I've been drinking recently. And I got to think about what it is that I've been drinking recently, too. Because it's been a bit of a quieter week as the holidays are now over and I'm not, running around like crazy as I usually am. Shy Guy's right. Water, for sure. I was saying on the pregame chats that I was finishing up my second cup of coffee and actually have a final gulp here. Yeah, trying to readjust to my normal drinking habits, so I'm not drinking like it's the holidays anymore, which I think is something that everybody not necessarily like struggles with, but at least like that first like adjustment period after the holidays, as you're getting back into your regular schedule, is like, oh, okay. And I think that's what a lot of people use dry January for, is just that reset period. But if you're not, if you're not well adjusted, and then like after January is over, you just like go back full throttle into it, like, what is the point of dry January, I suppose? But the whole point is, just getting used to a typical routine, so I'm not like dragging in the morning when I have to get up early for work and everything. But I did go and hang out with Chad and Kyle the other day at Rare Character for a little bit. Got a very early peek at the first batch of Rare Character limited release, Batch 1 Bourbon for 2026. I think you're going to be very, very happy with that batch, especially if you liked Batch 14. Batch 1 for this year is phenomenal. It's very much on point with that. Otherwise, I tried a few things with Chad. It was a very, what was it? It was an Ezra Brooks, like an old Ezra Brooks in a little flask. Tried Chad's New Riff pick. It was a 6-year that he did with a liquor store that was 125 proof, which I have never had a New Riff that high. And I think he said that it was also the highest proof New Riff ever bottled. And I think before that, it was the 10-year releases that they put out. I'm pretty sure those were the highest proof prior to that. But the the fact that these were 120.5. But the fact that they were able to bottle a 6-year single barrel at 125 proof is just crazy to me. He had a couple other picks there as well. One was a James Pepper pick from the Liquor Barn in town, which was super different and very interesting. Trying to think what else. I've gone back a couple times as well to the Barrel Craft Spirits New Year blend, which I didn't like initially, or I thought was fine initially. And it's really, really opened up since I opened it on my normal live stream on Thursday nights. Hang on, I'm gonna grab it real quick because I want to try it again for this. So on my live stream this past week, my again normal Thursday night live stream, which if you don't watch, you should. YouTube.com/This Is My Bourbon Podcast, Twitch.tv/My Bourbon Pod. I reviewed and tasted the Barrel Bourbon New Year from 2026. This is a blend of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 different bourbons from 7 different states with a derived mash bill of 74 corn, 21 rye, 4% malted barley, and 1% wheat. Ranging from 5-year-old all the way up to 16-year-old bourbons. Youngest coming from Indiana, Kentucky, New York, and Ohio, and the oldest coming from Tennessee. And coming in at 110.3 proof. And when I first opened it, it was just kind of flat. Like there wasn't a whole lot that was going on with it. And after a couple of days, having tried it on multiple occasions, it really started to coming from Indiana, never heard that one before. It really started to actually feel like it had some character to it. There's some leatheriness to it on the nose. There's actually like some depth from the oak. Some like peanut brittle too. I mean, like it really took time to open up, but I was so bummed when I first had it that I was like, I don't know if I feel good about having bought this, but I mean, honestly, it's a really good bottle. It's a really good bottle. It's crazy how much stuff is in this. And the fact that it comes out as even as it does is pretty remarkable. I'm really curious where the wheat is coming from in here. I would say it's probably New York. But who's to say? So there's something that I wanted to bring up too. This is like absolutely non-consequential. I think that's what I'm looking for. Non-Newtonian. But I asked this question, and I think it's probably better that I just pose this on the podcast better than anything. Because I was thinking about this the other day, and I wound up posing this question in both the TIMBP Discord and the Rare Bird 101 Discord. You can get access to the TIMBP Discord by being a Patreon subscriber. Like literally at the $1 tier, you have access. The free tiers, you don't have access to it. But $1 and up, that's when you start getting that benefit. But I was thinking about wild turkey barrels, and not buff turkey, but like actual wild turkey barrels, right? And outside of like the standard offerings that we get from wild turkey, so like 81 proof, 101 proof, 116.8, anything that you would typically get on the market, and like primary market too, where you know that it is coming directly from wild turkey. And that would even extend to like WB Saffel, I suppose, which is, not marketed necessarily as like a wild turkey product, but does still, fall under that umbrella. But even probably is not like a traditional wild turkey product. So it could fall under this this category that I'm about to talk about. But I was thinking about like, if you take out the traditional proof offerings, again, like 81, 101, 116.8, and those are, kind of the core products that you get from a wild turkey product. I was thinking about like what my favorite proof point is that I've had from wild turkey. Maybe it's single barrels, maybe it's blends, maybe it's, whatever. And maybe it's just also because I'm fortunate enough to have had wild turkey at multiple different proof points. And you can even throw, like, if you've had it, Pride of Anderson County into this as well, because it's a barrel proof wild turkey product, which is at a non-traditional proof point. But the the question that I want to pose to people, and I am genuinely curious about this, and I'd like to see like some kind of response, but it's, what is your favorite non-traditional wild turkey proof point for wild turkey products? So say you get a rare character single barrel that is sourced from Turkey, or there you get it from Circle City or whatever, and you've had it at 107, 108 proof or 124, maybe even higher than that. I don't know. I'm curious what you think, and whether you want to let me know on social media at My Bourbon Pod, or you want to send in a barrel ring 859-428-8253. You can text it. You can leave a voicemail. I'd love to know. All of the ways of communicating with the show are in the description below. Just let me know, because I was thinking about this, and like I have an answer as well for what I have found to be the most like representative of what Wild Turkey is, at least, or where I enjoy it the most, outside of, where the distillery itself gives its its products their home. So just hit me up. I'd love to hear your answers. I feel like when I pose the question in the two Discords that I did, it was not received, not well, I would say, but just with some confusion, and I just I didn't mean for it to happen that way. So let me know if you need more clarification too. So hit me up. I'm curious. All right, folks, we got a review this week, of course. First review of the new year. It's a bottle that I have been circling trying to get for a little while, and buddy of the show, Logan Buchanan, who has been on a couple of times, of course, was able to procure a bottle of this for me, and I finally am getting to talk about it on the podcast itself. But this week, we are going to be reviewing the new, I almost said brand new, but it, again, came out like a month or so ago. The Willett Family Estate Small Batch Bourbon, 4 years old, 120. This one is 126.6 proof. It's not the super expensive single barrel stuff, of course. This comes in at $60 a bottle, bottled at cask strength. This is one of the more interesting products that is out there, and also has a very curious. It's like the green top rye, exactly. So this is the answer right before. Or maybe even right after Eric left the podcast, this product was announced, and I asked him if he wanted to come and record this episode with me, review this bottle, and unfortunately, as of recording, the Buffalo Bills are about to play a football game, and I understand that is more important to him than recording a podcast episode. It is what it is. Anyway, so there was the first batch that was floating around that was 125 proof. That is not the one that I have. Again, mine is 126.6. It also, and this website, for those who are watching the video, the actual, what is this? Oh, it's the actual Willett website. Is kind of cool, but it has this strange like calculating effect when you scroll down to the mash bills that go into this bourbon. It is 30%. There's 72 corn, 13 rye, 15 malted barley at 125 barrel entry proof, and 70%, 52% corn, 38% rye, and 10% malted barley, also at a 125 barrel entry proof. So I like what this bourbon is on its face. I think that this is very much something that Willett needed to have in their product lineup. This made sense to me with the introduction of its with its introduction, just in general, right? They had the small batch rye for a long time. For Patreon, I'm going to be trying not just the rye on its own, but also regular pot still bourbon side by side with this as well. So I just we're gonna get into it, okay? We're gonna get into it here, and I know that this product in and of itself has been divisive for some people. Not necessarily because it's on its surface level, like Shy Guy was saying in the chat, baiting people into thinking that it was a purple top single barrel, but that there is something going on that feels like it is not up to the standards of what a purple top actually is. We'll talk about it. We'll get there in a second. I don't think that typically or largely kind of matters. I think that we have to take this at face value for what it is. I have heard, and take this for what you will, but I have heard at the behind the scenes level, and keep in mind too that this is a small batch 4-year. So at the bare minimum, there is 4-year bourbon in here. So it could be 4 years and 10-year bourbon in here, right? But it could also be 4-year bourbon and 6-year bourbon in here, or 4-year and 5-year, or it could all be 4 years. Who's to say? We don't know the exact breakdown of the barrels that are in here, but the rumors swirling that I have heard are that they just needed to move barrels. They needed to make some more money. And I think that if that is the case, if they are trying to push product so that they have some more investment, I guess, on the back end for Willett, whatever. But I also think that there is still a market, or still there's still room for this bourbon itself to exist. And I think that it makes sense as a sister product to the small batch rye. I think that it's been long enough that we should have had this in the first place. It just makes sense to me, you know? So anyway, 126.6 proof, 4 years minimum, of course. Color's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Kind of a caramel honey color to it. It's got some of that like classic Willett buttered toast going on. A bit of barrel char. I don't know if it's chill filtered or not. I mean, it doesn't say anywhere. It does say it's a rare release, though. But that just might be the normal Willett Family Estate label. That being said, though, I mean, it does smell oily. Does that matter? Probably not. There is a pretty intense, like, rye bread note on the nose as well. I really like the nose. I think it's really nice. There's like a hint of honey up top. Bits of fruitiness too, but I mean overall it's not a bad nose at all. So let's find out what's going on the palate. You know what? My honest assessment of this is if you are going into this expecting the purple top single barrel experience, you are going to be disappointed. But if you are trying a bourbon that has been batched to a profile that is probably going to be more approachable for the masses, this is better suited to that. This is very much not Willett single barrel. I mean, just straight up, it is not Willett single barrel. It's not overly oaky. It is buttery though. I mean, it is very, very buttery, which I like. I mean, I think this is, on its face, definitely not bad. There are points where it gets a little thin. I think that it also relies a bit too much on its high rye components. But that being said, though, I mean, it's not like it's not a difficult bourbon to drink. Like it's very enjoyable. And I also think that if you're trying to, if you're like me and you're in this space where you're picking it apart, you're going to find issues with it, right? But this is a 4-year, at minimum, $60 cask strength bourbon coming from a storied distillery in the bourbon heartland of Kentucky. And I think that there is a lot of value in what they are trying to put forward, right? Willett carries a lot of weight in what they do. I know that there is some like push and pull on what the actual purple top represents. But all that being said, though, I mean, this is truly not a bad product. It's just whether or not you like this flavor profile, I think. A little bit of cornmeal, a little bit of apricot, oddly enough. It's got a, this is so bizarre, but I mean it sincerely. This might be the craziest tasting note I have ever given. When I say cornmeal, it almost goes towards like a hush puppy. And like, I think that's why I kind of like this, because it's just like quintessential Southern cooking. And if nothing else, there's a place for this bourbon in pairings with Southern cuisine, which to me is exciting. And I think that like if you're going beyond what it is on its face value, that should at least excite you and give you the opportunity, because I think that, you know, when I do these reviews and I take it into account for like where it can go beyond it just being the product itself straight out of the bottle. And Shy Guy's asking how much MSRP. This is a $60 bottle at MSRP. I think that there is still a lot. Zopher, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. That's exactly the price point I want it to be. I don't want it to be any more than this. This is perfect at the price point. Hello? I'm home alone and I just heard something move. That's fun. Anyway, moving on. I think that this is versatile enough. That's just bottle settling. It could be. I was going to say if it were 70 to 80, I'd be mad, because I was going to say Willett and most other distilleries should be making barrel-proof whiskey around the James Pepper price points. Oh, jeez. This slots itself in perfectly to versatility, but also discovery, right? It's not going to be for everyone, but at least in my head, I'm thinking that I know who this was made for, and it's almost like, and maybe this is this particular batch. Again, like I'm trying the 126.6 proof. There is one that is 125 proof that did float around when it was first coming out. And maybe I've given it enough time to open up because I'm not reviewing it off the initial rip, right? When I did first open it, it was a little hot and it didn't initially jive with my palate. But I think that this is still a great value, and I will definitely be buying this. Again, I will be buying this alongside products like Knob Creek Single Barrel, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof if it comes back as a better product in 2026. Jefferson's Cask Strength, if that does wind up, you know, prolonging its shelf span into the new year as well. But I do think that this is going to have a staying power. I hope it does, at least, because I don't think it's bad. I think it's quite good. So I'm going to get into my my actual review system here of nose, palate, finish, and price. Each category is out of 5, and I give a final score out of 20. Even a lighter sip. You know, a lighter sip actually gives a little bit more of like, I wouldn't say issues, but I'm able to find some more flaws with it. But it's getting super nitpicky with it. All that being said, though, I really don't think it's that bad. I really, really enjoy this bourbon. Nose 3. There's a younger, like, green note on the nose that I think is taken away from some of the darker the darker barrel influence that could be more well represented here. That also might get down to more personal preference. It kind of feels like the 70% of the higher rye mash bill is a bit more well represented on the palate, on the profile here. But it's hard to say if we don't have actual breakdowns of everything. Palate is a 3.5. It just is so versatile, and honestly, it goes into territories that are not typically offered on the market currently. You know what? Honestly, I think it's just what Willett is. But to see a small batch version of Willett bourbon is so cool. And I really appreciate the fact that they are swinging in the way that they are. It's, again, not bad by any means. I'm really enjoying this product. Finish does pretty much the same that the palate does. It doesn't really go anywhere else, but it is extremely long lasting, which I really appreciate. It's got a good hug, makes me want to go back for another sip. I'm actually going to bump up the finish to a 4. Might be slightly controversial, but I like it. I like it. Makes me want to have more of this bourbon. So at this point, I am sitting at a 10.5 out of 20 before I've even factored in the price point, which again is $60. A brand new cask strength bourbon, barrel proof bourbon at 4 years old, $60. I mean, sitting roughly around, 125, 126 proof. Again, this is 126.6. If you don't jive with the Willett flavor profile, you might struggle with this, but I think at face value, there is something to be said about what this is. And I think there is a lot of versatility that goes into this. I think that you are going to find people who are able to take this and run with it in a lot of different aspects. And I like the price a lot. Quality could be pushed up a little bit, but again, little subjective. I am going to go with a 4 on the price. Could be worse, man. So 14.5 out of 20. This is definitely a recommend for me. I don't know what else to say about this other than if you haven't tried it yet, definitely try it. I know that it kind of flew off the shelves when it first got released, but it's I think that it's a keeper, and it's going to be interesting to see where these batches change and shift and meld over the next couple of years. Still can't find Turkey 101 8-year anywhere without knowing someone. I hope to see it be a shelfer, but Lord knows how many years it will be allocated before we get to that. I don't know if it's even allocated right now. I think that it's just hard to find because people got really excited about it. I've seen it get stocked and restocked a couple of times in Lexington, because people can't find that 7-year fits either. I haven't actually been able to see it in Lexington, like, period. But we'll see. I think people just got really, really excited about the small batch Willett. So we shall see. Patreon's going to get some bonus content at the end of the episode, as they always do. So if you want some of that, patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. From the $5 and up tier. Jeez. Choked up. But we are going to move into a segment known as Barrel Rings. This is a segment that is completely listener driven. So if you want to submit a voicemail or a text message that I will listen to or read out here on the show, you can do so by submitting it to 859-428-8253. It's just a regular old phone number. You can call it, you can text it, 859-428-8253. And again, leave a voicemail or send a text message and we'll check it out. We got one here from our buddy Jared. And I'm going to turn up the volume just a hair so that I can hear better. Oh. Okay, here we go.
Hey, what is up, Periwinkle? I'm just driving here to pick up my middle schooler from his friend's house. I figured I'd give you a call and ask a question I keep forgetting to ask. And that is, if you watched the second season of Dan to Dan. I remember you and Eric talking about season 1. You guys liked it way more than I did. I thought season 1 was a little too chaotic and disjointed and came off like it was written by a sexually frustrated high school kid. But season 2 I thought was way better, way more cohesive and a more consistent plot and character development. I enjoyed season 2 a lot more. I mean, didn't love it, but liked it better than season 1. So, yeah, that was all I wanted to ask. Hope your new year is off to a ripping start. Talk to you later.
So what Jared was asking about was the anime Dan Da Dan, or Dan Da Dan, because he's from Pennsylvania. But I've started season 2 of Dan Da Dan, and I actually think that I have watched like the first 2 episodes. And I haven't gotten through all of it. I know I haven't finished the second season, but I really, really liked the first season. And I thought that there was a greater meta commentary on, I'm going to talk around it here so that things don't get flagged. But assault, and the way that it is used to create a power structure, especially against young women. Excuse me. I've stopped watching seasonal anime, but been burned too many times on great anime that only got 1 season. I mean, Dan Da Dan's different because it's got the backbone structure of having the manga initially, and I do think that it's going to see, we're going to be able to see it through, at least. I think it's beautiful. I think it's an extremely well-crafted anime story, just in general. And I look forward to what's coming next. Wife and I will eventually watch it. The scenes I've seen so far seem great. They're beautiful. I understand the feeling like season 1 was disjointed, because it was chaotic, but I also think that it was intentionally chaotic because that was the energy that it was supposed to give. Here's some things that like kept me feeling like I wanted to keep watching it. Kept me invested. The story of the characters themselves, for one. The animation, of course. And just basically wanting to know how the story would resolve itself. Now, on the flip side of that, the show Uzumaki was such a mess of animation, and the story definitely was way more disjointed than Dandadan was, that I couldn't keep watching it after the second or third episode. Like, the first episode, beautiful, perfectly recreated the manga, and I wanted to keep watching it just to give it a chance, but it was like the animators gave up after the second episode, or after the first episode, really, because the second episode felt like they just were asleep at the wheel. I just I don't know. I just couldn't get past it, you know? It's a bummer when you love a manga and they mess up the anime adaptation hard. Yeah, it sucks. It really does. Anyway, no, I am way behind on anime. I'm still really looking forward to the what do you even want to call it? It's not a re-release, but the remake, I guess, of One Piece that's going to be coming out for Netflix sometime soon. Very excited for it. But overall, I need to get back into Dandadan. If you have something you want to submit for barrel rings, it can literally be anything. It doesn't have to be bourbon or whiskey related. Even though I did say, submit something for the turkey question that I had earlier, because that would be fun as well. High proof hot takes. I don't want to talk about anything that's been pissing me off over the past week, because there's a lot of stuff going on in Get Barrel Aged Malort. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the country that could just be easily summed up with be empathetic towards one another. Start showing kindness and compassion towards your fellow human being, I suppose. We can't keep acting the way that we are, I guess. So, we'll talk about tips and bits right now, which is the segment of the show where I recommend things that I have been watching, reading, listening to, playing, anything that I want you to check out that I have been enjoying that I think would also elevate your leisure time. But as I said at the top of the show, I'm recording this and streaming this on Sunday, January 11th, which is the day after it was announced that Bob Weir, the one of the founding members of the Grateful Dead, passed away. And hugely impactful on my musical journey, and also somebody that I held in such high regard for, a wizard of musicality in general. And when something like this happens, it is inevitable that even if you have said in the past, if there are people in the past who have said, oh, I don't really, care for that music, there is going to be somebody who is curious about that band's music. And yes, a few months ago, Phil Lesh, who was the original bassist for the Grateful Dead, passed away. But and I was still very upset when that happened too. But Bob Weir was still basically touring as like the new iteration of the Grateful Dead, right? And I saw Bob Weir on multiple occasions with Dead and Company. And so I had a much more personal, emotional connection to his rendition of the Grateful Dead than I did Phil Lesh. So that's why it's been more emotional for me, at least, knowing that he passed away. But what I wanted to do was at least recommend one show for people to listen to understand what this band meant to me. And I'm not gonna recommend Dead and Company shows, because I think that that's something that you can find on your own journey as you venture into the Grateful Dead's catalog and the Grateful Dead's music. But the one that's been floated around, and the one that I highly recommend you check out, is the New Year's Eve show from 1978, the closing of Winterland, which was an iconic venue in San Francisco. Provided some of the most pointed to performances from the Grateful Dead, some of Jerry Garcia's most unbelievable guitar playing, and still to this day, people who were there say was a magical, transcendental experience. I respect the Grateful Dead, but could never get into them. I mean, it's totally fair. But when I and that's something too that I was saying, like, I know that people are not necessarily looking for the opportunity or the entry point for the Dead, but it is something that I have to, like, at least recommend. Listen, if you want to listen to one show. December 31st, 1978, closing of the Winterland in San Francisco. And rest in peace, Bob Weir. Been a tough couple of days for us Deadheads. So that's all I got for tips and bits this week. I'll save the rest that I had initially for next time. But that does it for the main episode. Like I said, Patreon's getting some bonus stuff on the back end, so you all stick around for that. If you want to check out the bonus stuff that is available for Patreon and support the show monetarily every single month, you can do so by heading to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast for as little as $1 a month. $5 and up is where you get that bonus content every single daggum week. There's a bonus episode on Mondays. There are the pregame chats on Tuesdays, along with the uncut, unedited bonus version of the show that has stuff over there that you can only get, again, on patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. If you want to follow the show on social media, @mybourbonpod. If you want to send questions or comments, This is My Bourbon Shop on all social media. You can find all of our apparel and merchandise at bourbonshop.threadless.com. If you want to send anything to our P.O. Box, samples, bottles, mail, whatever. It's P.O. Box 22609, Lexington, Kentucky 40522. We also have the barrel rings, of course, 859-428-8253. And then last but not least, you can leave a 5-star rating and review at your podcast app of choice. we'll read it out here on the show. And we appreciate everybody who does that. And I appreciate you guys very much. See you next week. I don't know what's coming up next week. No idea. See you then, though. Until next time, I'm Perry, and this is My Bourbon Podcast.